Hi friends, and welcome back to another What Sold video. I know it has been a little bit of time, but we've got to dig back into the sales, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You guys know I am always honest and transparent with you guys. The last few weeks have been rough. The week I'm going to do right now was kind of okay. It wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't terrible. This past week that I haven't written down my numbers yet was pretty rough. So I'm sure you'll be seeing another probably more rough video up and coming on my channel, so stay tuned for that. But first, before we get started, I think I've had quite a few new followers on my channel. So if you are new, my name is Maria, and yes, I am a part-time reseller. So I sell on Poshmark and eBay. I also dabble a little bit on Depop, and I did actually have some Kitizen sales, which has been, I had like 5 Kitizen sales also in the last couple days. So I don't know what's happening, but I'm excited about that on Kitizen. But yeah, I do this kind of as a part-time job for fun and to have a little bit of income for my family, mostly to support my kids' college funds, which is, I hear, a good thing to do. So we're gonna go through each and every item sold for the week of July 14th through the 20th. Hopefully it doesn't take me too long to get out this video. If it does, I am sorry. I just have a lot going on. It is summer, the kids are on break. We all know how that goes. I won't belabor that point. But a couple of things to remember that I always say in my What Sold videos, I do average my cost of goods. So you're gonna see that as I tell you what things sold for, where I got them, how much I paid for them, and what my total profit was. Also, the second thing is my total profit at the end of the day is after fees. I do promote listings on Poshmark and eBay. It's after shipping. It's basically everything except my taxes that I will take out at the end of the year. So of course, don't forget to subscribe, and let's dive right in. So my first sales day was Sunday, July 14th, and I only had 3 sales, which for me is kind of a low, especially on a Sunday, because I usually run sales. I send out offers on Poshmark, as you probably are familiar with. I will send 30% off offers, and I only had 3 sales, so that was a little bit disappointing, and I don't think any of them came from that sale now that I'm looking at them. So the first thing to sell were these new with tags Tallulah Aritzia Okinawa high-rise light wash denim jean shorts in a women's size 27. This was my first time selling Tallulah, which is an Aritzia brand, and it was new with tags. So I kind of expected these to do a bit better, but that's okay. We live and learn. So I accepted a $20 offer for these. I did get these at a Goodwill retail store, so my average cost of goods was $502. That's probably a very good average for what I paid for these, because shorts are typically listed at $4.99 at my Goodwills. But these were listed for 444 days. So I expected them to sell much faster. They were Q style, cut off, new with tags. I think I had them listed for maybe $35, but I did end up making $10.98. I like to keep an eye out for Aritzia brands. I would definitely still keep picking up Tallulah, but these ones just, were the most exciting purchase. Okay, next is one of my favorite sales of the week, and it was this vintage Wrangler brush popper striped pearl snap button down western shirt, rodeo size large. If you are a follower and consistent watcher of my channel, you might remember this from a bins haul video. It would have been from the bins thrift with me and the bins haul that I did on my channel a few months ago. And I think I said this was probably worth like $30 some. I wasn't terribly sure. I thought it was super cool. It was definitely vintage. It had the pearl snaps. And like, I thought it was going to be really good. And then my quick search, I was like, maybe it's just going to be $30. And then when I actually comped it, I was like, oh, this is going to do really well. So I accepted a $100 offer on this shirt. The keyword here is brush popper. If you find anything that this type of style, I think this one did especially well because of the nice big bold striped colorway. This, if it had been a long sleeve, would have done even better. I had this listed at $150. If it were a long sleeve, I probably would have listed it around $200. Those were doing a lot better. I did expect this to sell on eBay, but it did end up selling on Poshmark. But that keyword brush popper, I was seeing that some people were listing these style of shirts with that keyword. Those were doing much better than those that did not have that keyword. I think it goes back to what these were used for, maybe in the farming industry. I'm sorry if that's wrong, and if someone knows the origins of this, definitely write it down in the comments for me and anyone else to read. This one was kind of interesting though, because it was like a weeks long kind of back and forth battle with the buyer. I think he originally offered me like 30 or 40, like really low compared to my $150 list price. And then I might have even declined him at the beginning. I don't know. The whole conversation of like counter offer was like this long by the end of it. And he would like come up and then I would come down, and then he would go up like $1. So he was at like 49. And so I was like, well, this is just fun. So I would come down like $1. So I was at like 124 or something like that. And it would take him usually a few days in between each counter offer to like respond back. I think this might have even been relisted at one point. Like, then I stopped hearing from him and I was like, okay, I'll get another buyer somewhere. And then out of the blue, he offered me 100, which was much closer. I think at the time when we were counter offering, he was in the 60 range. And I told myself, like, if I could get to 75, I'd be happy with that. I don't really know if this is worth as high as I had comped it, but I wanted to test it and try. I got it at the bins for like $1. So if I could get him to 65, and then when he came back, he offered 100, and I definitely took that. So this sold for $100 on Poshmark. It did come from the bins. My average cost of goods was $1.36, and this was only listed for 45 days. It was getting a lot of attention on Poshmark and on eBay, and I made $78.64. That $78.64 from the one purchase at the Colorado Springs Goodwill bins paid for my entire haul that day. I went back just to look at it, and I paid like $68 for all of those items. And then I went to Taco Bell and got like a $10 lunch. So this paid for my entire bins plus lunch, and I'm thrilled about it. All right, the last thing to sell on Poshmark, or at all that day, was another really exciting one, and it was these Dolce Vita suede leather over-the-knee cognac brown tall boots in a women's size 8. These sold for $63. They were a beautiful style, nice and tall, genuine suede leather. Dolce Vita does really well. Just be mindful of the DV Dolce Vita, which is sold at places like Target. That one is not as valuable. Super cute styles, but for resale purposes, I'd recommend sticking to the plain Dolce Vita line. I got this at a garage sale. I've done some videos on how I do this math for bookkeeping purposes, but when I take my kids' clothes to Once Upon a Child, I don't count that back as profit. I just liquidate that straight into garage sales, and I don't count it as an expense, so it comes out above board and clean. So I purchased cash with this from liquidating at a buy-sell trade store, so I therefore had $0 into it. I do remember paying $10 for these, just if you're curious, at that garage sale. But they were only listed for 58 days, which was during summer, and these are definitely fall-ish type boots, and I made $50.40. I also picked up a Ralph Lauren blazer, new with tags, at that garage sale, and that sold 75, 100. I sold really, really well too. So that garage sale, I only picked up like 2 or 3 things, but I am very, very, very happy about it. All right, then we moved on to Monday, where I was like, okay, I had a down Sunday. Hopefully we have a better Monday. And I only sold one thing. So really great way to start off the week. It was this vintage Disneyland 1955 Mickey Mouse blue 100% cotton short sleeve t-shirt large. I think I just had this listed too high. I had it listed for like $50 because I've sold other vintagey type Disney shirts in like the $35 to $45 range. This wasn't getting quite as much attention as some of the others, so I did end up accepting the $25 offer. You'll see it's been listed for a while. I got this at a local thrift store where I do lots of dollar days, 50-cent days. I don't think this was one of those days. My average cost of goods was $2.25, but it was listed for 626 days. So it was getting close to that 2-year mark, and I made $17.75. Tuesday, July 16th, picked up a little bit. I had 4 sales. I had 2 Poshmark, and I finally had eBay sales again. So I had 2 over on eBay. First on Poshmark were these Picolinos brown leather laser cut floral slip-on mules heels sandals size 41, which is a US 10. I really like selling Picolinos. This is a lower sales price for me than normal, but I did accept the $28 offer, mostly because I had been having such a terrible sales week and I really wanted to kind of kick some life into it. I got these at a Prime thrift store. I post a lot of thrift with me's over at that store. My average cost of goods was $5.87. They were listed for 119 days, and I made $16.53. Definitely keep an eye out for Picolinos though, because they do usually move fairly quickly. Next was this new with tags J. Jill Pure Jill 100% cotton peach pink slept cotton top kimono shirt in a size extra large. This sold for $29 on Poshmark, which, was that an offer? I think it was an offer, or maybe a 10% off offer that I sent out and they accepted. But one way or another, it sold for $29. I got these at my local Goodwill store. My average cost of goods was $4.32 that day. I don't normally just pick up J. Jill at normal Goodwill prices. This one was new with tags. It was a size extra large. It was super cute, great style. I just had a feeling this one would do well, and it did. So it was only listed for 26 days, and I made $18.88. I definitely like picking up J. Jill. I'm trying to be a little bit more selective about it, but this was one that I definitely really liked. Over on eBay is one of my favorite bread and butter things to sell, and definitely one of my favorite bread and butter brands to sell. And it is these Merrell Kids leather Jungle Mock nubuck tan khaki slip-on hiking shoes, flats in a size 13. I really like this Jungle Mock style of Merrells. I've sold them in women's, I've sold them in men's, I've sold them quite a few pairs in kids, and they always sell quickly and they sell decently well. I usually price the kids ones around $35 and the adult ones around $45. These ones were no exception. They ended up selling for $27.99. I think that was the $34.99, but with the 20% off sale that I'm normally running on eBay. I got them at a Goodwill store. My average cost of goods was $286 that day, so I probably cashed in some like rewards points that I can build. And they were only listed for 9 days, and I made $20.84. I actually just found another pair of these at Goodwill a couple days ago, and I was very happy because they tend to sell really well. So keep an eye out for Merrell. My Goodwill doesn't always mark up the kids' shoes as astronomically as they mark up the adult shoes. And the kids' shoes are all on one wall, whereas the adult shoes are all throughout the store on top of the rack, so they're hard to go through. So my normal routine at Goodwill retail is I don't really shop the racks anymore because everything's high priced, but I go in to just shop the new racks, and then I usually go over to the kids clothes. That's kind of my just stopping in. I've got like 20 minutes. Last for this day were these Teva Terra Phi Light slingback sandals, walking hiking shoes, flats in a women's 7. These sold for $25.19 on eBay. I got them at 2nd Avenue, which is a chain of stores near me. My average cost of goods that day was $627. These were listed for 374 days, but I made $17.36. I had another pair of Teva that sold, I think a week or two before this. I don't remember if it was featured in a What Sold video or not. And those ones were very similar, and they sold overnight. So I don't really know why this one took a year and that one sold overnight. Sometimes you just get lucky. Sometimes things sit. So Wednesday, July 17th, I was back to only having one sale on Poshmark, and it was the Skechers Clio Sport Our Town Ballet Flats Blue Knit Memory Foam Women's 8. When I first started reselling, which was about two and a half years ago, Skechers were doing pretty well for me. They were bread and butter. They weren't selling, they were selling for like $20 to $25. But Skechers have been slowing down for me. So I'm keeping an eye on that, and I had these for a while, so I was glad to see them go. So I accepted a $20 offer. I got them at that same local thrift store. My average cost of goods was $4.42. These were listed for 312 days, and I made $11.58. I thought this style would do a little better just because they kind of have that like Rothy feel, but I know Rothy's in general are also slowing down, although I have never found Rothy's in the wild. That's still on my reselling bucket list. On Thursday, July 18th, I had a much better day. I had 6 sales, which is much more typical for me. I had 3 on Poshmark and 3 on eBay. First on Poshmark was this Woolridge full zip black fleece vest, hiking, camping, outdoor, women's medium. Yes, guys, I keep saying this in videos. Put those keywords in your listings. They are really going to help. They sound really weird when you read them out loud as a human, but remember, you're writing it for the algorithm. You're writing it for a computer. You're writing it for a robot. And then the human is probably going to look at the pictures and look at the descriptions. This I had listed at $25, which triggered an offer to a liker for $22 with discounted shipping. That's 10% off. And they accepted that. I got this at that local thrift store on a 50-cent day, so I only paid 50 cents for this. It was only listed for 32 days, and I made $17.10. When I can get them at a low cost, I really do like selling those basic, hiking fleece vests. Woolrich, Columbia is a really common one. North Face is a good one. They're easy to list. They're easy to photograph. I can just copy and paste previous listings and update it as I need to. And they usually sell, decently well. They're just a common thing that lots of people still wear. Next was a great sale, and it was this Fox Racing long sleeve graphic racing shirt, jersey, blue red men's extra large. This ended up selling full price on Poshmark when I was having a rough week. That was a great feeling to have a full price sale. I got this at my local Goodwill. It was on one of those new racks, and my average cost of goods was $7.10. I probably paid like $5 something technically for this, but it was only listed for 13 days, and I made $20.90. I do like selling Fox Racing, plus just in general, these racing like motocross type jerseys, I think do decently well. Next was this Barefoot Dreams Luxe Milk Jersey. I have jersey twice. Luxe Milk Jersey, didn't need both of those. Piped sleep shorts, pajamas, PJs, extra small. I got these at a Goodwill. I have only found Barefoot Dreams once before, so I was excited to just find Barefoot Dreams. I knew they were sleeve bottoms. I could not find the top, but at $5 at my Goodwill, I decided to pick them up. I did check comps. I accepted a $20 offer on these, and my average cost of goods, I must have gotten them the same day on the new racks as I got that Fox Racing, because my average cost of goods was also $7.10. So obviously the cost of goods was a bit higher than what I actually paid, the $4.99 for them. But they only were listed for 6 days, and I made $8.90. So I knew they weren't going to sell high when I purchased them, but I knew they would sell. So quick sale, made almost $10. I'm happy with that. Another one of my better sales this week over on eBay was this Eileen Fisher 100% linen cream beige maxi skirt lag and look women's small. I don't always or even very often go through the skirt section, but while I was at one of my local stores, I was actually kind of walking past it and I saw kind of a maxi length in what looked to be linen. So I felt it, I was like, okay, and I checked it and I saw it was Eileen. I was like, ooh, this was a really, really lucky find, because I could have just walked right past it and not even noticed it, and I never would have found it. This was getting tons and tons of attention on Poshmark and on eBay, but it ended up selling on eBay for $52. I think it was listed at $65, and then it was available for purchase at $52 with the 20% off offer, and somebody bought it at that price. I got it at Second Avenue thrift store. My average cost of goods was $6.78. It was only listed for 13 days, and I made $38.60. I still love Eileen Fisher. I think if I'm realistic on what things are going to sell higher and what things are going to sell average, but even the average things typically are $20, $30, $40, and then things like this sell much higher. I found some really high-end sweaters last year, like high-end meaning really good fabric contents. Wool, Angora, cashmere, things like that are going to sell quickly, and they're going to sell. I think they both sold in like the $60 range, but even her basics sell pretty well for me. So I will pick her up almost every time if it's in excellent condition. Then we move into a bread and butter sale for me, which is Market and Spruce Stitch Fix Sleeveless Striped Nautical Ruched Stretch Dress in a size large. Market and Spruce, I got into this vibe of picking up because they kept selling. This one sat for much longer than most of the others have. I wouldn't pay a lot for it. Would I still keep picking it up? Maybe. I definitely always put Stitch Fix in the title. I love when it is new with tags or new with Stitch Fix tags. Those usually do pretty well with me. This one didn't. It was pretty basic, so it took much longer to sell. I did end up accepting a $17 offer because it had been listed so long, and I just am in the mood to move things out, especially recently when I haven't had a ton of sales. I also got these at Second Ave. Average cost of goods was $5.57. This was listed for 520 days. So again, be careful what you pick up from Market and Spruce. I have not written it off yet, but just be careful. And I made $8.31. Next was another quick sale, and it was this Michael Kors pebbled black leather full-size wallet clutch gold hardware. I grabbed this like while I was in the checkout line. There's one Goodwill that I go to sometimes that has carts kind of lining the checkout line. Like, you know, when you go to TJ Maxx and you end up with like 15 things just from the checkout line that you weren't expecting to have. Yeah, they're trying that strategy. So they've got the new carts just with stuff in them lined up, and I happened to see this sitting on one of them. I was like, oh, Michael Kors, it was $5, and it was in really good condition. And Michael Kors at my stores, they usually just mark up way higher. So I grabbed it not knowing if I was going to keep it or list it. I ended up listing it because I have something very similar to it, so I didn't really need it. So I accepted a $24 offer. My average cost of goods at that Goodwill that day was $5.87. It was listed for 8 days, and I made $13.38. On Friday, I had 3 sales, 1 on Poshmark and 2 on eBay. On Poshmark, I sold this Torrid linen blend pull-on wide leg stretch high-rise pants, beachy, boho size 1 regular. I've had these listed for a couple months, and they have had so many likes on Poshmark and lots of attention on eBay, but so many likes. I was like, I know these are going to sell. They're a linen blend, they're Torrid, they're pull-on, they're perfect for the season, and no one scooped them up until this finally. I think I had recently relisted these. Please do your relisting. I use Posher VA. I am not in any way connected or sponsored to them, and I love it, so I recommend it. I had recently relisted these, and I dropped the price from $35 down to $30, knowing we were moving out of the season. And then someone scooped it up full price, so that was fantastic. They sold for $30. I got these at the bins in one of my Columbus, Ohio trips. Average cost of goods was $1.63. They were listed for 157 days, and I made $22.37. So I had to wait a little bit longer than I expected, but I had a really good return. Another favorite sale of the week were these new with tags Doc Martens vegan 1460 black faux leather Felix lace-up boots in a men's 12. These are unisex, so I put in the description they could be a women's 10 or a men's 12, but I did list them in the men's section because I know that men's shoes are going to garner, especially with Doc Martens, a higher sales price than women's. I accepted a $100 offer with these, which I was very excited about. I got these at my local Goodwill in the, like, they sometimes have a new cart of shoes before they've had the ability to put them out on the floor that they do let us look through. I know all stores don't, so I'm grateful for that. However, I did pay $40, which I think is maybe the most I've ever, I still feel very new in my reselling career, and I am just part-time. I think that's the most I've ever spent on an item to resell. And I knew it would be worth it. I did check comps in the store. They did have the new tags. They had the stuffing in the shoes. They were definitely brand new. There was no box involved though, so I listed them as new without box on eBay. I was comfortable paying the $40 because I knew they would sell, and I knew I could definitely make some profit there. I had them listed for only 47 days and I made $49.93. So to pay $40 and get $50, I'm happy with, especially to have that in just under 2 months. And to get my money back, because that is a bit of a risk, you know, $40 into it when I'm normally paying like $1 to $5 for stuff. I was very excited to get those out. And as you can see, I don't have tons of shoe storage and it was taking up a lot of room. So I'm glad about that. Also on eBay was this Jules Great Britain Peter Rabbit collection denim jacket shacket in a girl's extra large. When I picked this up, I didn't realize it was kids. I thought it was women's, and then I like looked at extra large. I was like, oh, and then I researched it. They had this really fun, cute like Peter Rabbit collection. But this jacket didn't really have anything Peter Rabbit-ish. It didn't have embroidery or design or anything. It was just a jacket, and then I think it said like PR on it somewhere maybe. So it was connected to the collection, but you couldn't really tell. This ended up selling for $21.59 on eBay. I got this at a Goodwill retail store. Average cost of goods was $5.49, but it was listed for 640 days for me to make $10.20. I had also reduced the price a couple times, and that was, I did a relist, a sell similar over on eBay pretty recently, and that's what I think triggered that sale. All right, on Saturday, the last day, I had 6 sales. This is the 20th. I had 2 on Poshmark, 1 on eBay, and 3 on Kittison. 3. Yay! On Poshmark, I sold these Brooks Pure Connect P2 Blue Road running shoes, minimalist sneakers, women's 9.5. I accepted a $22 offer. These were given to me by someone that didn't want them anymore and knows what I do. So I had $0 into them. They were listed for 270 days and I made $17.60. The buyer, I remember after she purchased, reached out and just asked like, hey, I really need these. Do you think you could ship them quickly? And I said, yep, actually they're already packaged. They're going out tomorrow. I usually do ship next day as long as there's no reason why I can't. And she was very grateful and gave me good feedback. So that was, it's always affirming, you know, when you hear back that the buyer really loves them, she's happy, she's satisfied. That's a win-win. Next and lastly for the week on Poshmark was this Talbot's women black sleeveless knee-length career dress, women's size 22W. This sold for $36. It was another one I had relisted. I think it had been listed at $45. I dropped it down to $40, and then somebody liked it, and so they received a $36 offer, 10% with discounted shipping, and then they bought it. The best part about this is I got it at that local thrift store for 50 cents. Talbot's, guys. Don't sleep on Talbot's. It was listed for 213 days, and I made $23.08. Over on eBay, my one eBay sale were these Athleta pink purple short compression spandex shorts, running yoga women's medium. I accepted a $15 offer on these. I really wanted to get more than that, especially since I knew I had purchased them at a Goodwill retail store, which nowadays I probably wouldn't pay Goodwill retail prices for a pair of Athleta shorts, but I did at the time. I'm living, I'm learning, I'm figuring this out as we go, and with you guys along with me. But I knew these had been listed for a long time. I'm trying to, before I counter or decline offers, I'm trying to like take that moment, pause, go into my spreadsheet and look if I need to at how long it's been listed, and then just say, okay, we need to move things on. Even if I only make $1, even if I only make my money back, we got to get things fresh. We got to keep it fresh in our store. That's good for the algorithm. It's good for my business. So I did end up accepting it, even though my first instinct was to counter. My average cost of goods at Goodwill that day was $6.20. They were listed for 366 days, so over a year, and I ended up making $5.57. But I got my initial investment back too. Okay, and lastly for the week over on Kitizen, I actually had a bundle sale of 3 things, which is fun. So I'm not going to go through the details of each individual thing, but I will tell you what was purchased in this bundle over on Kitizen. First was this Altered State fuzzy oversized Saatchi cream pullover sweater, comfy women's small medium. If you guys watch my huge swap meet haul that I did on my channel, this was one of the things I listed from that very recently. I also wore this in one of my videos, I think one of my Goodwill Bins videos. And so that one was definitely very newly listed. I also sold this Caution to the Wind ruffle short sleeve lightweight knit top blouse medium, and this Style Envy striped crop top with tie front and batwing sleeves medium. Those 2 never should have bought. Not good to resell. They've been in my closet forever. I bought these at the very beginning of my reselling, journey. Never should have bought them. So right when I saw that, I was like, yep. Everything I got at that swap meet was free. I was like, absolutely. So she ended up purchasing these for $53 for all 3. I do offer free shipping on Kitizen, so that obviously came out of it. It was $9.50 for shipping. So total for these 3 items, I made $37.33. Altered State was free, and I probably had a few dollars into the other ones. I don't think I paid much for those. And so yeah, in general, I think I probably made around $10 per item. And I was so happy to get those 2 out of my inventory, as well as a sweater, because the sweater is bulky and takes up a lot of space. So recapping real quickly for you guys before we close up, I had 24 sales. My total sales that week was $843.70, which makes my total profit $510.21. It's a bit lower than I've gotten used to, but I still have to check myself and be like, I do this part-time, I do this in the evening as my kids go to bed, and that's $500 that can be very, very well used and mostly saved by my family. That is it for today. I do have another haul video that I'm going to be filming in the next couple days. I got a lot of good feedback that you guys liked seeing what I was actually willing to pick up at Goodwill retail stores when I just go in and shop the new racks. So I've got like 2, 3, 4 maybe hauls that I've done recently, just like smaller ones because I'm just shopping the new racks, and I'm just going to group those all together and film a video for you guys, show you what I liked to pick up and what I scored at the new racks. So that is it for today. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.